Honors Algebra 2 Pre-Calculus. We're doing 10.4 in Pre-Calc, which is hyperbolae. So on page 727, your book gives you the formulae for the asymptotes of a hyperbola, right? So what we mean by that, right, if we go over here for just a second, is that you know how you draw like the invisible box, right? And then that invisible box has these diagonals. What they're doing is they're giving you the equation for these two diagonals, right? The asymptotes that you would get, okay? So they're going to give you the formula that I have boxed at the bottom of this page, but I think any of you that know me know that I will always pick logic over memorization, and I think it's more important that you get why these work, because they're hard to memorize. It's a lot of letters, and it's easy to accidentally flip things over, and the two formulae are very, very similar, with one minor change, and if you get why the change is there, it's a lot easier. So these formulae are basically just point slope. What makes them different is the slope, and you can see, so the reason that both of these formulae have a plus or minus for slope is that these two lines have the same slope but opposite signs. So if this line had a slope of positive 2, this line would have a slope of negative 2. If this line had a slope of 17, this line would have a slope of negative 17, etc. That's why the plus or minus. So now let's walk through why the slopes are what they are, and then maybe the formula will make a little more sense and you won't just have to memorize it. So if we're looking at a graph where we have a horizontal transverse axis, right? So this one right here, if we're looking here. So if we have a horizontal transverse axis, which I abbreviated TA because I was tired of writing it, then we know the equation has the x on top of the a. That's relevant because that means that the a motion is left and right, right? The a motion is in the x direction, left and right. So the box goes left and right, that's what I have here, L/R, left and right, a units. Well, in terms of Algebra 1 terminology, that would be the run, right? Left or right motion is the run. And the b, which is under the y, would go up and down, so I have u/d, up and down b units, which would be the rise. Slope is just rise over run, so if you use point slope, y minus the y value, which happens to be the y from the center, because if you go back to this little picture I drew here, this spot right in the middle that hits both lines is h comma k. The only spot that occurs on both of these asymptotes, the point where they intersect is the center. So y minus the k, which is the y value of the center, equals, and then my slope is plus or minus the rise over the run. Because while this guy rises b, like positive b, positive a, right? This guy is negative a, right, and positive b. So one of them is the positive version of the slope and one's the negative. But here, where b is associated with y, b would be the rise and a would be the run, hence b over a. And then in parentheses, x minus h, because that's the x coordinate of the center. Now if we go over here, same situation, except now my transverse axis is vertical. So when that happens, my y is on top of the a and my x is on top of the b. Well, that means that the box goes left and right b units because the b is paired with the x, meaning it's x motion, and up and down a units because the a is paired with the y, meaning it's vertical motion. So in this situation, my a is rise and my b is run. So you'll see that I have almost exactly the same equation I gave you over here, but here it's a over b instead of b over a because, again, it's rise over run. So you can feel free to memorize these two formulae, but if you recognize that they're just point slope and that you're getting your slope by using the rise over run in the box, which is just a over b or b over a depending on the situation, it's a lot easier. And if you're graphing it, it's even easier to spot because you could literally physically count rise over run. Like you could use your pencil or your pen and count up and count over, and it would be a lot easier. So that's the gist about why these formulae are what they are. Again, if you want to memorize them, that's fine. I just think that too much memorization and not enough logic is problematic.